So I'm going to do today's video a little bit differently. I always get asked, and I always see people asking others, like, how do you find a good spot for your photo locations? So I figured today I would go through kind of 3 easy tips, and they're gonna seem like they're pretty obvious, but I'm gonna run through a couple tips, and then we're gonna go out in the E30 and try to put these tips to use and find some good locations. It works out that I actually just moved to the Tri-Cities in Washington, so I don't really know too many locations, so I do need to get out there and start finding some good spots to shoot at. Tip number 1, it's going to be a pretty obvious one, but just scour and go through all of the social media that you can. I personally really like to go through Instagram and go to like the places, the tagged places. So for me, I would look through the local cities here, and you can scroll through that pretty fast and try to find car photos. You'd be surprised how many car photos you can find there, and then try to locate the locations that way. You can then, looking at the photo, maybe in the hashtags, they'll have something more detailed. I do like the places, the tagged places, more than the hashtags, just because for me in Richland, it's not always necessarily Richland, Washington. So actually going to the tagged places help narrow it down a little bit. In addition to that, you know, there's always Facebook groups. Everywhere I've lived has a pretty large Facebook group, so I always see people talking about spots there, posting photos, and then you can try to figure out where those photos are from. So that's kind of going to be the first kind of big tip, is just look through social media. You can scroll all day long to try to find these different spots, or try to change up the locations that you might be searching for. But that's going to give you a good start for where other people have actually gone to take photos. Tip 2, I would say, think about what your city's known for, and you try to use that as like iconic backdrops for your photos. It's going to be probably more easy when there's a lot of landmarks in your town. Where I was in Bozeman, you know, we had the mountain range, so it was always good to try to find a photo location there with the mountains in the background. Where I'm at now, we have the Columbia River and a handful of bridges. So that's one spot that I want to try to find, is a good spot with the bridges in the background. I think the river photos are going to be fairly easy, just because of the amount of marinas and different, you know, fishing access areas. But yeah, really try to think about what your city's known for and what kind of landmarks you can use to make it kind of an iconic photo for where you're at. In addition to that, like where we're at, we have a lot of wineries and vineyards. So that's kind of a photo location that's going to be more unique to an area like the Tri-Cities. So that would kind of be a goal, to find a good spot that has, you know, some of the vineyards in the background, just to try to be more unique to where I'm at currently. And the third tip, it's going to be, you know, pretty self-explanatory, but you really just have to get out there and explore. Like, just spend a weekend, one of the days of the weekend, out there driving around, testing out different spots, trying to see what you can find. In addition to driving, you know, you can always go get your bicycle. I don't know if you can see it, but all I have is a BMX bike, so I'm not covering too much ground on that. But you can get a bike and then just kind of ride around your area and try to find, you know, that might be good if you're more in like a city setting and you're trying to find like a good back alleyway that you want to shoot at. So you just got to get out there and explore. I think one of the locations I'm going to try to go to today, I was actually running on one of the trails, and it looked like one of the offshoot parking lots there. Could be a really nice location. So really all I was doing was I was out running, and I think that's going to be a good spot, so we'll take the car back and check that out. Another good thing about if you're doing it on a bicycle, you can always try to position your bike where you think a good car spot would be, and try to use that as like a stand-in subject. So just to kind of recap, the 3 main obvious tips that I want to portray today is going to be like, search social media for good spots, think about what your city's known for and the trademark landmarks, locations there, and then you just got to get out and explore, either, you know, driving around or walking or bicycling or some other form of just getting out there to explore. But that's really going to kind of wrap that up, and we'll get out there and see what we can find. So knowing my area, I knew we had kind of a satellite campus for WSU here. Generally college campuses have pretty nice I guess architecture and locations that you can shoot at. So I came out here. I don't really know what building I'm at, but I think with the, I don't know, the ivy or the vines on the side of the building, and
then the you know, the greenery there, and then the corners of the building should make for a pretty nice shot. Wouldn't really use this as a location just because it's not very clean, but found what I wanted. I guess you could use this as a location to be nice in the fall when these leaves start to change, but with the yellow lines you'd probably have to clone those out, and then I would imagine that there's a decent amount of traffic here, but I'm just gonna grab one shot. But that looks pretty good right there. Feel like we gotta wait for a bus.
So I missed one clip while we were out because there were just some people around and I didn't really want to talk to myself in a group. But basically I found one good spot, knowing the location. So basically knowing that there was a WSU kind of satellite campus or whatever. So that had a good spot. And then from my run this morning, actually, off of that trail, there was like a gravel lot. Turns out I'm a really big fan of just shooting on gravel blank lots. You don't always need the most extravagant location for good photos. You know, you're trying to make the car the main subject. So if you're interested in more of a video of what I look for in a location, let me know and I can try to shoot one of those as well. But yeah, so we found that location, took a couple photos with the other cars that were there. I don't think I positioned it in the proper spot to really take full advantage of that, but there was a wall of trees on the side that I think could also make a good backdrop if we were to recompose the car. The other lot along the trail that I looked at had too many cars parked in it to really work out. So I think that would be something better to go to early in the morning before it starts to get any cars in it. There was one section without any lines, which would be nice for car photos. But yeah, the gravel lot that I found that did work. There's also, I guess, like a winery tasting room right there, and they had a nice fountain. So I think if I can go early enough, maybe before it opens, that could kind of be an interesting photo to kind of pose a car with the fountain. But yeah, I think I found 2 spots that could be used again in the future. Definitely, I think there was more areas around the WSU campus that I could have tried to compose at, but you know, I was running low on daylight. So I still have to get out and take advantage of a photo kind of from Instagram, from that first tip. And you know, I think that's going to be some of the bridge photos that I've seen on Instagram. I might reach out to one of the photographers there and really find out where that spot is, or just kind of explore and get to the different bridges that I think it could be and try to find that spot myself. But all in all, so far so good. I've got 2 new locations that I can use from following these tips, and hopefully I can add one more to the list.
So I wanted to continue the videos of finding photo locations. It's clearly another day. I ran out of time that first day, but this is basically going off of that tip 1. Hopefully it's not too loud because I am in between the highway, or I guess under the highway. So I knew that there are some good bridge locations. So from using social media, I found one spot that I thought would look really cool, but I wasn't sure which bridge it was under. So I used actually Google Earth and the little where you can drop the person and kind of click around on the road and see what it looks like. So don't be afraid to use that. That's really good for just exploring new areas. So I clicked to all the bridges I could find, and then I found the location that I'm at. Not really here at the right time of day. You can see we're in this parking lot. I have the truck with the bridge, but it makes kind of a cool symmetric shot. So like I said, this really isn't the right time of day. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So definitely come at a different time to use this spot, or a cloudy day that you don't have the sun totally backlit with a kind of a bland blue sky. But pretty cool location. There is somebody on the other side, so I'm not really going to try too many different compositions. Just grab a quick photo of the truck because it's what I was out and about in today, and yeah, that'll do it. So know your area, use social media. Don't be afraid to use Google Maps or like Google Earth or anything like that to explore a little further.